Kingdom OutKasts podcast is a platform for us to simply express our thoughts, opinions, and experiences concerning our faith and events around the world. We're here for your entertainment, encouragement, and edification of the body. We're humans like yourself and are not the final authority of views expressed. Only the Most High Yah is. Feel free to agree, disagree, edify, question, and comment however you're led to in the comments. We are many members of one body under Messiah and look forward to communing as a family with mutual respect. Shalom and enjoy the pod. Kingdom OutKast.
Welcome to the Kingdom OutKast podcast. Wait, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right?
Yeah,
All right, we're gonna do
mission
that.
statement.
Okay.
So just say,
What's our mission statement?
we're gonna add that.
Welcome to the incoming kingdom.
That's not the name of the.
Kingdom OutKast.
Welcome to the kingdom. Okay. Welcome to the. Let me do that. Welcome to the Kingdom OutKast podcast. I'm here with,
Deja.
Elijah.
and I'm Meshach or Brandon. Brandon or Meshach. And we are the Kingdom OutKast podcast. This is where the mission statement goes. All right.
Mm-hmm.
How y'all been this week? What's been going on with you?
Well, I'm blessed per usual. Because this is the first episode, I'll just give you guys a little background on myself. But you're going to get to know me very well throughout these podcasts. I hail from Columbus, Ohio, born and raised. Then went to school in Athens, Ohio. OU, oh yeah. I studied international business and marketing. And I've stayed in the sales and business world professionally. I currently do finance as like an analyst, and I also do like financial coaching for individuals in their personal finances. So whenever you think about economics or finance, think about Elijah. Okay? Because I
trying to get rich quick.
Yeah. You do these simple 3 things. Watch Kingdom OutKast, reach out to Elijah, and be blessed. Not in that order.
And make the third your first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's a little bit about me. My week was... I'm sorry. My week was good. It was good. I worked, and then I worked some more, and then I hung out with some friends this week. So it was a really good week. All praise be to the Most High.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Deja. I am originally from Kansas City, Missouri. I was born in Detroit, and I moved to Alpharetta, Georgia, in high school. So I've been in Georgia since 2010. I am a financial analyst. I work for a large nonprofit that's headquartered here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm also an accountant / bookkeeper on the side. Things about me: I was an athlete in college. I really enjoy gardening. I also like to run in my free time and do some hiking. And I'm very excited to be a part of this conversation with these guys. As far as how my week has been, I think I've had a very productive week. I was given a new project by my boss, so I'll be presenting this to our CFO sometime mid next week. So I'm looking forward to that. But I was kind of lazy this week, and I worked a lot of hours, but I didn't work out as much, and I didn't cook very much. So I would say I had a productive week, but it wasn't as structured as I normally would. I was kind of focused on putting in hours at work.
Gotcha. Oh, well, shoot. Well, I'm Brandon Meshach again, you guys. So, what about me, man? I ain't that interesting, man. I'm kind of boring.
Please.
Nah, but I'm a blood type specialist in fitness coaching, basically meaning that knowing your blood type is going to give me a lot of information on what food you should and shouldn't eat and how to exercise. I've been coaching since 2014 and finished since 2012. I'm a degree graphic designer. Been a graphic designer since 2007. Well, I think it may have been like 8th grade around then or so. What else? Children's book author, write exercise book for kids. At times, I can be a child's mentor in schools. And what else, man? What else do I do? Oh, I also do apparel. Incoming Kingdom Apparel. And then Get Gains Get Gone Apparel off of the coaching business. And I think that's it as far as like what I do. And I'm a podcaster. Again.
Podcaster, add it to my list.
Right. As well as, and sometimes I might do social media marketing. But as far as my week has been pretty good. It's been pretty good week, especially since these clients is, renewing their sessions now. Get a little bit of money before these bills hop in. Looking forward to the Passover season for real. I'm actually currently on my last day of the fast, so feeling kind of spiritually strong. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, it's been a good week. It's been a lot, as far as just juggling, work, and just some other things taking care of at home, and then us putting this podcast together. But shoot, I'm blessed as well. So, yeah.
Okay, so first we're going to get into a precept for the week. And Brandon, would you like to share with us
All right.
what that precept will be?
Got you, precept. So, check this out, y'all. I've been reading a book called the Book of Enoch. Basically, what's that verse that goes if all the words of the
John 21:25. If all the words of Yahshua have been written down, the world would not be able to contain all of its wisdom and teachings.
And I wish I could memorize verses that I want to remember like that.
Listen. That was a paraphrase. Okay.
No, that was good. That was pretty smooth, man.
Yeah.
Let me see here. So, goodness gracious, yeah. That's probably. I feel like in my walk, that's probably my weakest thing is I have to literally have my stuff verses jotted down, because memorizing by heart, I used to have to in school, but it's something I definitely gotta remember. All right, so finding it now. So here it is, right? So I guess I'll read the whole thing, right?
Yes.
So Book of Enoch. This is another canonization of the works of the Messiah, and this was canonized by the Celtics of old. There's debate on whether they were actually black, which they most likely were, or they were European. But the Celtics of old basically canonized this, and there's way more sayings and parables about the Messiah than even in the four Gospels. I mean, it's mad juicy. So
Very deep.
yeah. You said you've been on it, right?
Yeah. I was up late at night reading that, and it's like it just really helped me like just have a deeper affection towards the Messiah and like just getting to know him, like and just like outside of the Bible, So, I'll let you read.
Most definitely. So this is chapter 3, I want to say, verse 33 through 35. For when my mother cried, I said to her, this is the Messiah talking. For when my mother cried, I said to her, dry your eyes and be happy, for now you can perform your charitable acts to perfection. Had those who stood about the door praised you, the deed would have been less worthy, having been done for the praise, therefore not entirely out of charity. Many do good works because it increases their self-esteem, but charity is giving the bone to a hungry dog, but giving the meat when hungry yourself. Andrew said to Yeshua, if we give all that we have to the poor, they will grow fat and slothful, preferring a life of beggary to one of toil. Yeshua responded, charity is giving a hand to a blind man or soothing the wounds of those smitten by Ruach strengthening sword of life. it is good to help those in distress or those who cannot help themselves, but sometimes giving does more harm than good. Many give it because it eases their conscience or raises their self-esteem. Such giving is not goodness, but when giving entails self-sacrifice, then it is better to give than to receive, for the benefit lies in the sacrifice made and not in the thing bestowed. I disagree. So yeah, what y'all think about that?
I think that was good. I mean, who was Andrew to come to the Messiah and say, we shouldn't give because people will become reliant on, or people will become slothful. I think that, of course, his response was in all wisdom that I think sometimes giving can be even of more benefit to the giver than to the receiver.
Yeah.
No, and I mean I can't flex. Like I used to think like that. Sometimes I feel like, because I have a homeboy too. I kept having to help them, and at a time I started to feel like I'm just enabling them. You know what I mean? Especially when sometimes with certain people you don't feel there's changed behavior.
Yeah.
So I also feel like discernment kind of goes into play with that. But what about you, Elijah?
After you're reading, like, what came to my mind was Jesus' teachings on how he was basically really switching up the Pharisees and the Sadducees' perspective and like their desire to, whether it was fast and show that they're fasting, pray out loud in front of the temples, and it really just kind of shows like where your heart is. He was showing his mom that her heart was right because she wanted to give, to these poor people, and then when she got blasted for, giving to the poor people by someone who was like, she was really helping, and she took so much offense to that and was sad by it. It was just like, he showed her like her heart is like pure in a sense because she wasn't doing it to like get recognized or get worshipped by people, but just out of the goodness of her heart. So I thought that was beautiful. How Jesus put it in such eloquent terms. Like I'm reading the Book of Enoch, and like it's like one of the mentions about the Messiah that they said is that he really took time to respond to people, and I was like, wow, that's so fascinating. Like he actually he would just kind of like, people would think it's odd like that you don't like just respond back to somebody quickly, but he's God, you know what I mean? So he took his time and responded back to me, and I was like, wow, that's so amazing. But yeah, I thought that's kind of what I took from it.
Okay, so from that, we want to go into the Hebrew teaching.
Yeah, so we're going to take the Hebrew word teaching from the actual verse that we just did. And I think we can all agree the main word is
charity.
You know what I'm saying? Charity. So let's go here. We're going to use Strong's Hebrew Concordance. Personally, I like to use the Bible Hub app. What do y'all, if y'all use Strong's Concordance, what do y'all usually use to access?
Literally just online access,
Yeah.
I don't have a physical copy, is it?
No, I mean, so you can have a physical copy. I have a PDF. That's another version, and then I use like the Bible Hub app.
Okay.
But so here, Shelek, Cheleq, portion, tract, territory, or other definitions. The NASB translation: associate, catch, divisions, equal portions, farmland, inheritance, land, legacy, lot, portion, portions, property, reward, share, or territory. So we can definitely, one of the differences I realized about the Hebrew language and the English language is that Hebrew words can have way more meanings depending on how you use it than how English language, will have one meaning for one word, Like some words in the English language have multiple meanings, but not as many as the Hebrew can have for one word. Now that's most likely going to be modern Hebrew. So from here it says word origin from Shalak. Oh, by the way, Shalek is 2506 in the Strong's Concordance. Now, it's from Shalak, which is 2505, Chalaq. My guess is that this would be Paleo, or it says late Hebrew or Aramaic, but it could be closer to Paleo as well, because I know Paleo, according to what I've studied, only has 8 vowels.
Okay.
So, to divide or share, which even sounds closer to, charity, right?
Yeah.
So how would we use the word shalek in an English sentence?
Shalak, I mean, literally just put it in place of charity. I look, y'all. I'm still trying to learn Hebrew. I can't form a Hebrew sentence yet, but
Right.
we already know like Hebrew is backwards. You write backwards in Hebrew. So.
Right. So if we were to hear the word, we would know the meaning. Like, for example, if someone was to say, allow your shalek to speak for you.
Yeah, or shalak. Yeah,
Allow your
charity.
shalak.
Yeah, charity. Or say give charity, give shalak. It's basically interchangeable that way.
Okay.
So yeah, and even if you don't speak Hebrew, like I don't think that's like a huge thing, because we know the word says it's going to restore to us a pure language someday. But it is important when we're reading in the English language to know what certain words or things mean in Hebrew, because there's going to be some deeper meanings than what the English translation is going to give us a lot of times.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How y'all feel about that when it comes to these translations and stuff?
Well,
These versions?
I know that my first language being English, I'm not certain that I will ever fluently speak Hebrew or anything, but I do enjoy having the knowledge of some of the proper words. So, for example, if I were praying, I would love to speak to the Father and say, like, please accept my shalak, like accept my charity as like, and so that's valuable to me, to even just learn like words instead of being able to pronounce full sentences, just knowing like what some of these words mean. So if I ever do hear it or hear someone refer to the word or a similar word, I have context for what this word probably means.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I recently started, studying like Hebrew and the meaning of these words, but even from like the small amount of words that I have studied, I'm just gaining a much deeper appreciation for God's word, and also just like the meaning behind Hebrew. I feel like, just being raised here in the United States, English being my first language as well, it's like, it's such a basic language. It's so basic.
It spells.
Literally, it's
good morning. No, say good rising. No, you ever met one of them people?
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And I don't want them to think I'm putting a spell on them. Fine, I won't say good morning to you. I'm not putting a spell on you. I literally mean like happy to be here.
Right, literally, like
I'm
happy to be awoken.
Happy to be alive.
I'd be like, good AM.
Good.
I'm not saying overstand or interstand and how, come on, y'all.
Intra-stand, that's when you're intra from the inside standing, and it's like, okay.
Alright, guys, like, if you
I
speak
overstand.
English, just speak English, you don't have to be that serious. But I think, like,
I do
it's
avoid
good.
certain words too, though, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't be that extreme.
Yeah, no, I recently started avoiding certain words for sure.
Like what?
Let me think.
I
actually don't say morning.
Okay.
I actually don't.
Yeah, you don't.
I'll say shalom.
Yeah.
Or Boker Tov, which is supposed to be good morning in Hebrew.
I want to know that one. Say it again.
Boker Tov. Or to say peaceful morning, Boker Shalom.
Yeah.
Boker Shalom. That's fire.
That's interesting.
Okay. So I think we should get into some current events.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good.
So I think something super interesting I've been seeing in the news lately has been stories related to Israelis' ban on Christianity.
I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
That scares me deeply. I'm afraid of that.
Yeah. I'm not. From studying the word, I've like stopped. I'm not gonna say I completely stopped, but I've been able to like kind of try not to be as nervous about it because it's kind of prophesied, but it's definitely a harsh reality. Because after looking into it, I saw like the initial like the news anchor mentioned it, and then I looked into it, and from what the what some of the articles said, like they said it probably won't get passed just because it's receiving so much backlash from Western Christianity and Christians and conservative leaders. But I think it's just a sign of the times of what is to potentially come, like in regards to persecuting those that believe in Christ, and also wanting to profess that to other people. Because like I learned that it wasn't like to people that are over 18, it was only to people that are under 18. And that they try to, the whole goal is to influence children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's what scares me. It's like they're really trying to stop us from preaching Jesus to kids. And what else are they going to preach?
All y'all can get these hands. No, really though. But before I even, did you have something to say? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read this ABC News update on the whole thing.
Okay.
But
yeah.
Well, yeah, go for it because I'm just afraid at this point. That's all.
do y'all remember like when? Did y'all remember how you've been off of social media, but do you remember did you see how people were posting about this and people's reactions on social media, like this news at all?
I didn't see too many posts about it. I saw a couple, and I didn't really look at the reaction. I was just like, whoa.
I follow a good amount of people that are in the truth or in the way, or Hebrews and Christians alike, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was interesting. The funny thing about so many Hebrews on social media, and most of them are in camps. A lot of them are in camps, which we're not, you guys. But
by the way,
but we still got.
I don't even know what a camp is, okay?
But we still
got.
got.
But we know the camp colors. So.
Right. But we still got love for y'all, right?
Yes.
Is that they be throwing, some of them be throwing in people's face Babylon is being judged. yes, Christianity is going to be destroyed,
So they think that's a good thing.
Yeah, some of them think a good thing, right? At the end of the day, the word is prophesied, all this stuff. Yeah. So, we have our promises. But then what I did was I was interested. I wonder how many Christians actually know about this. Because, in my life perspective, I don't see a lot of Christians, I guess, keep up on things going on in the world. Mm-hmm. Maybe past the news, on television. But a lot of what goes on isn't televised, you know what I mean? So I sent this to one, homegirl, she's in the Christian faith, and it was literally just tear emojis. Oh my gosh,
it's happening.
It's happening. But check this out. This is actually an update on ABC News. It says Israeli leader halts bill against Christian proselytizing. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he will prevent the passage of a proposal by a powerful ally in his governing coalition to punish Christian proselytizing with jail time. This is March 22nd, 2023, 7:19 p.m. Jerusalem. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Wednesday said he would prevent a passage of proposal. Okay. The proposal had raised an uproar with evangelical Christians, one of the Israeli's strongest and most influential supporters in the United States. Pause. I know y'all have been in a Christian church, and the pastor at some point says, we need to support Israel. Yeah. We need to send money to Israel. We need to, you know what I mean?
No, I've seen it.
Yeah.
In white Christian churches.
Yeah. I've seen it in black Christian churches
too, yeah.
Growing up in Church of God, what? And, we ain't going to get into much about how we feel, about Israel. But at this moment,
the Israeli state. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to. the Israeli state. Like
Yeah.
that's what they are. The Israeli state.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the 1948 established Israeli state. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Okay.
1948. Yeah, man. A lot of these churches are, in a way, controlled, by, them in a way, and because a lot of people in faith have this, European perspective of the Bible, which we know the truth, right? They still view, the people over there as, the real Israelites. So a lot of these pastors will say, yeah, we need to tithe to them, And what's y'all experiences on that? You said you've never kind of seen that, or
Not really. I mean, I remember seeing a online pastor speaking on it, and he had a large church. I had never actually seen this in a church that I've attended. But he feels like, I don't know if the objective is that if they support the Israeli state, that it will make an alliance between Christians and Jews. That concept, but I think that's what they're trying. I think that's what they're selling like to their churches. Like, we want to make an alliance between Judaism and Christianity, so we're going to financially support the state of Israel, like the Israeli state, for peace and for purposes of peace. Because then it's looked at as in the Middle East.
peace.
It is, but in the Middle East, it's like, okay, there's like Muslims / Taliban, Afghanistan, who is in the enemies with the Israeli state and the Jews, and then they're banning Christianity. So it's heating up in the Middle East. Like, it's heating up.
It's heating up, and it's all prophesied.
The Middle East is a hotbed.
Yeah, it's a
It's
hot.
right, and the United States has not helped it out, not one bit, since, honestly, I'll probably say since the fall of the Ottoman Empire and World War One.
Well, the thing is, I don't even think it is.
I was more Western, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, because, Great Britain went in there for the oil, the United States went in there, and other Western powers went in there for oil, and being driven by money and the desire for power, like, has literally made the Middle East so unstable. And I mean, wars have been started over this stuff, but it's prophesied.
Yeah.
So maybe it just had to come to pass. But
I mean, and to be honest, like, when you look at how, a lot of Christian churches are kind of like under that umbrella of, the Jewish, state, really what I found is that, I mean, Israel owns America, to be real. They own this, and that's why you do have a big, strong...
But why do you say that?
Well, I've come across some documents which I had to fish through my, research, again, to get to this stuff. But, we're not underneath the United States of America as a country. We're under the U.S. Corp. This country is actually literally a corporation.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
And so why do you say that the Israelis own that corporation?
Well, first of all, you can look at it from this, right? Who has most power in America? You know what I mean? Well, what do we know Kyrie and Kanye to have gotten in trouble for, right? For saying things. We know that, right? There's also in some old books, certain figures, who actually said this. Now, I ain't gonna say the figure yet. This is our first podcast, and I ain't gonna say the person yet. But let's just say he's one of the most hated figures in the world, and by the Jewish people, for certain atrocities that have happened in the past. Y'all know where I'm going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so he said that they own this country. You know what I'm saying? As well. And there's been other prominent figures. There's actually been Jewish people themselves who admitted, this.
That they own a portion
That
of
they
the US
own.
government?
No, that they own. No, not a portion. They own. You know what I mean? This also gets into.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay.
I think that perhaps I'm more likely to think that maybe a portion of certain corporations and some of the largest corporations in the market share. But as far as like literally owning the entirety of one of the most powerful nations in the world, I don't know about that.
This conversation gets deep, y'all.
Because they live in a much smaller nation. So imagine living in a tiny house, but really owning a $10 million mansion secretly off somewhere, but you live in a tiny house. It wouldn't make sense.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, the thing is that, you know, just like we heard in, you know, I don't know if he was here, but, you know, on Shabbat, you know, Bishop, he was talking about how anywhere in the world, you can be recognized as a Jew. You know what I mean? They have an establishment. So it's not, so the mere fact that they have that land over there isn't why they own. But it's that they are established everywhere. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, when you get into certain conversations about occultic organizations, I think we can agree that organizations run the world, not governments. You know what I mean? It's organization within the governments. Mm-hmm. Well, when you get into some deeper research, you learn that these occultic organizations are owned or ran by, you know, them. So Freemasonry, for example, right? If you look in Freemasonic temples, you'll find what I call the Seal of Solomon, you know, in their temples, right? Some people call it the Star of David, which is not true, but you'll find that, you know what I mean? And so when you see that stamp somewhere, that's showing where the allegiance planned to. Right. When you realize this country was actually built by the Freemasonic order, that comes from the Knights Templars, from all the way in Rome. Mm-hmm. They were born from the Baphomet, you know, for worship of Baphomet, if you ever heard about them. Mm-hmm. Well, it trickles down, you know, and see how this country was established, who it was owned by. And, you know, I'll provide some sources, you know, from some of the things that I'm saying, you know, in here, for y'all to go check out. But it's a rabbit hole of a conversation.
It's definitely a rabbit hole of a conversation. And we definitely will provide resources to those that want to go check them out. I think that's important. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, like, it's crazy how we're talking about Israel's ban on Christianity, and then we got into this deep conversation, but it's still relevant. You know what I mean? Because I think as we see Israel banning the proclaiming of Jesus Christ, I think we're going to start to see more legislation and actual like policy in regards to the persecution of those that believe in Jesus Christ, but more so like talk about God's word and like live it out and like tell other people like this is right, this is wrong. And it's all for the inclusion of everybody's desires in their flesh.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just like I guess wrapping up this article, the bill was introduced in January by a pair of ultra-Orthodox Jewish lawmakers. It says soliciting someone to convert their faith should be punishable by 1 year in prison, and soliciting in a covert manner solicitation to a convert, a minor, would be punishable by a 2-year sentence. Recently, attempts of missionary groups, mainly Christians, to solicit conversion of religion have increased, it said. The bill was never advanced, but it drew widespread attention in the American evangelical world this week after All Israel News and Evangelical News site reported it. And then on Wednesday, Netanyahu announced on Twitter, "We will not advance any law against the Christian community." Mm-hmm. And that's basically, you know, the main thing here. It's talking about how Christians are saying, "Oh, this is fulfilling of the end of days and stuff." Mm-hmm. But what I want to say to this, to wrap up my views on it, is that since 1991, it's been legal underneath the Jewish Talmud in the United States as well, which is also supported by the United Nations. I can provide the site to remove somebody's head for proclaiming Jesus Yeshua. So for me personally, this isn't even like a surprise or a big woo. It's been legal all this time. Mm-hmm. They're just telling you what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. This is just a play. It's like, hey, let's test the waters and see how people react before we actually go there. And that's what I feel the same thing has happened with, what we're going to talk about, the banks and things with power grids and people, certain places having power outages and, like they're testing how people react to things before they actually implement certain things.
Yeah, I mean, they did a, They did a trial run of COVID, and then we see how it played out. So I think it's just kind of like, they're just testing the water. I think you bring up a really good point. I just stand my word and be like, this is what God has to say, and we're seeing the fulfillment of end time biblical prophecy in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that.
so it's like, this is all the more credence to God's word, and I'm at a place where I'm like, let me just continue to keep my faith in the Most High, because I know that blessings are coming for us as people as well as individually. And what's it saying where it says, for I did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. So just keeping that at the forefront of my mind amidst all this news is like the most important, because I know that, let's say the government is going to start implementing this policy of, putting people to a guillotine. Like, I'm going to have to be of sound mind to be able to, continue to profess Christ.
Breathe.
So, yeah. So it's just like staying in God's word. Knowing it's going to happen.
No, and that's like so difficult to think about. I just seem like that would be so far off. Like, it would not be.
In our lifetime.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. I mean, things could progress if they're making laws about banning Christianity. I think owning a physical Bible has been illegal in China at some point. Yeah. For quite some time.
There's actually many countries already where people in faith are running for their lives daily.
ISIS is beheading people a lot in Africa and Middle East. It's just not on the news.
We real soft over here in America. Let's be real honest, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We super Hebrews and all this. Man, we don't know what some of these people are experiencing in other countries.
Yeah.
So would that mean that we have, to a certain extent, we do have freedom of religion here? Do you feel?
To an extent. I mean, we already know. Well, I don't follow religion. This is culture, you know what I mean? This is our culture, to us. But yeah, I mean, there is, in a sense, freedom of religion, but it is slowly being they're conditioning people to hate everything religious right now. Yeah. There's a lot of more satanic and devilish outright. Like, stuff was really subliminal before,
right?
But now it's just in your face as far as music and media and stuff. And so they're conditioning people to actually, for this new world order, this new world of just Satanism, which Satanism is literally just do what thou wilt, do what you want. Aleister Crowley, 33rd degree, Masons of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. But I mean, look, man, I'm personally, it's sombering to think about it at some point, but honestly, it's encouraging as well, because I do choose to personally meditate on the verses that talk about in Matthew, I want to say 24 somewhere, Messiah says, pray you're worthy to escape, these trials, endure to the end. You know what I mean? When the word talks about salvation, or Yeshua, which means salvation, it doesn't even always just mean salvation through the Messiah. It means surviving the end times. You know what I mean? Yeah. This might be getting a little ahead into our subjects, but one of the deeper knowledge of the word, when you know about the calendar, right? The Enoch calendar is 360 days. You add 4 seasonal days, that makes 364 days, right? But when you take away the 4 seasonal days and just do 360, which is the Hebrew Bible calendar, multiply 400 years, which represents 400 years of slavery, by 400 years times 360, you get 144,000. The word, in my personal opinion, the Achaya, the Most High, he talks through numbers. The Hebrew language is is numerology or Hebrew gematria. It's written in numerology code. That's where actually our alphabet comes from, the Hebrew language, which Abraham taught to Egypt.
See,
And so
that's something I don't know. I don't understand it really because I've seen the insinuation that like basically the Masons or like the Masonic lodges or whatever, they use numerology in order to send messages or mark things. But now you're saying that the Most High does the same thing.
So yeah, the thing is that, and this gets in, we're getting ahead to our kind of our subject with the deeper knowledge of the word, versus New Age spirituality. But at the end of the day, it's all about perspective. There's deeper knowledge in the word that's there for the perspective of this comes from the Most High. But what other people do is that they take and they worship the knowledge. They worship the creation. Yeah. And they use it for their own will or for their own ways. You know what I mean? And so that's, the Book of Numbers. Man, when you really study the Book of Numbers, there's a lot of, here's the thing. A lot of us in the Hebrew community, the Sefer Bible is what's really popular to read, right? Because the Hebrew, if you type meditat, right? Not meditate with the E to meditate. Just type meditat. 33 times is the different forms of meditation used throughout the entire Bible. 33. The Messiah supposedly died at 33, which some people think is 30, but what's known as 33. We have 33 vertebrae, which is connected to our brain. We know the pineal gland, if you know. And so we're supposed to pray and meditate or meditate on the word. It's mentioned 33 times. There's just a lot of, and the Most High doesn't make a mistake. Everything is created and done by design. You see what I'm saying? So, there's a difference between just recognizing the Most High speaking in different ways, through numbers, through the word, through people, through art, through creation, the sun and the moon and stars even proclaim his prophecies, right? But there's a difference between taking that fallen angel knowledge or trying to use the creation for your own will, in your own ways. And that's where you see how Freemasonry kind of use it in their own kind of, evil way. They take it from the perspective of the different religions that worship these false gods, aka the fallen angels.
Interesting.
That is good. That pretty much does hit on our topic for this week, which is New Age versus esoteric writings. So let's just talk about that. Like, what are your opinions on New Age religion? Even, can you start with sharing what is New Age religion? Because I've heard of New Age, so my opinion of it versus what it really is. So what is New Age religion, and then how does that differ from the esoteric writings that you're hitting on? So my opinion of what New Age religion is basically a combination of the power of the mind and manifestation, also using astrology, and also believing in, the source, believing in the source, and maybe communicating with the opportunity to communicate with the dead, and to
tarot.
And see the future. That's my opinion of. And the belief
necromancy.
Necromancy and the belief in reincarnation. So, what is New Age religion to y'all?
To me, it's I know what I want to say first, but I gotta go in order. I think it's the belief in a higher power, a lowercase g, and incorporating certain aspects of life into that. So, what is astrology, horoscopes, nature, crystals, and all that, but all, in a sense, just worshiping the creation, but believing in a higher power, but not being able to I don't know, you may be able to give that higher power a name, but it's not the Most High, it's not Elohim. And my personal perspective on it is just like to appease one's flesh. It's to tickle your ears, essentially. You know, like what's going to feel good for me right now? What is going to give me the opportunity to live how I want to live, and not really, you know, be living in truth. And there's only one truth, which is God's word. And I think that's kind of like what this new age philosophy is. And I think like there's even a little deeper into it. There's like a sense of new age Christianity too. That's starting to be that's very, very like it's demonic, and it's just like it's influencing people to like not even like studying for themselves what God's word has to say, or like, you know, wanting to have a real relationship with the Most High. They just kind of take things at their own word. But I think that, you know, this new age is understanding that there's a higher power, but it's not the Most High, but they don't understand that. And, you know, you mix in some nature, you mix in some
grounding.
You mix in some stars. You get
tree hugging,
tree hugging. You know, stargazing. You know, and you try to like understand
some yoga.
Yoga, yeah.
Oh, gotta throw some yoga.
Gotta throw yoga. But it's
hot
all about
yoga,
it's
nude
all about,
yoga.
like how you said, Deja. It's about you know,
Sexual yoga.
it's all about the mind. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, all about the mind. So I know it's kind of like long-winded, but
Gotcha.
yeah, the new age is
It seems ever changing. Maybe that's why it's called.
yeah, it is. It's ever changing, and I feel like it's gonna eventually get to a point to where when we get visited by some extraterrestrial beings that they are, you know, it's like, oh, this is our new age God. You know.
Let me tell you, every single Marvel movie is really conditioning people for this.
Yes.
All right, let's not jump ahead into that. We're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
All right.
Elijah just threw like UFOs in there. What did you call them? Extraterrestrials.
Extraterrestrial beings.
Yeah.
Extraterrestrials. But okay, Brandon, please talk to us about what New Age is.
All right, so this is what I got, right? New Age is old age. None of it is new.
None of it is
Paul quoted King Solomon, you know, or King Solomon, ancestor apostle Paul quoted ancestor King Solomon. Nothing is new under the sun. It's a longer verse, but nothing is new under the sun. So none of this is new. It's all old. It comes from old religions, and people are really just taking. You know, here's a good example: the Tower of Babel. Mm-hmm. The Tower of Babel, or AKA Atlantis. We're gonna get into that later on.
What does that mean?
Was the combination of all these different beliefs and of gods and stuff, and they had just one common goal, right? Mm-hmm. One world religion. Let's destroy the Most High. That failed. Then we got over 70 languages. Now, today is no different, right? It's really all these old different religions that got split up after these different languages. And now you have the coexist. You know what I'm saying? That coexist symbol with all different.
I've seen that on cars.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
pray for you driving.
LGBTQ, like rainbow sticker, and then there's like
XYZ or NOP. Nah. But yeah, so like it's all old. It's none of it's new.
Right.
In all it is simplest form, all it is doing is trying to separate the Most High from His creation. Mm-hmm. It's the worship of the Most High's creation instead of the Most High, who created the creation. Mm-hmm. And what's up?
I was just gonna say that was a great way to say it, because the Most High created everything, even the fallen angels.
Who get in the Book of Enoch, y'all. It names which angels taught humanity makeup, beautifying of the eyebrows, sorcery. Not trying to get on y'all ladies.
Yeah, are you saying beautifying the eyebrows is sorcery, Brandon?
Well, I'm saying you want me.
Depending on how
I'm gonna
you
just
use
read
it.
the word.
Depending
I'm
on
not
how
gonna
you
say anything. I'm gonna just read
His
the
eyebrows could be looking crazy. I think some of them
Look.
want their eyebrows.
Look, should I just read? Look, I can just read
Everyone
this.
doesn't have just nice eyebrows growing off their face.
Look. I get it. Look. I didn't say nothing. I'm quoting the word. Okay? I didn't say nothing.
I'm just a messenger.
You know, solution to sorcery, observer of the stars, motions of the moon, you know, stones, all sorts of dyes, so the world
Weapons.
became altered. This is some of the stuff the Book of Enoch, and I want to say chapter 8 or 10, you know, talks about. But here's where you have to divide what is actually New Age religion and what is knowledge of the order of Melchizedek, which one thing that's important to realize in the Old Testament, the Most High, the same knowledge the fallen angels corrupted humanity with, teaching us things we were never supposed to know, which some of it is true, some is false. The order of Melchizedek and the high priest who were leading Israel was imparted this knowledge, but it was not imparted to the whole of Israel, as everybody can't handle it. Okay? So here's a good one. Job 38. Can you bind the sweet influences of Palladius or loose the bands of Orion? Can you bring forth the Mazaroth in his season? Or can you guide Arcturus with his sons? Know you the ordinance of heaven? Can you set the dominion thereof in earth? Now this is when the Most High was basically dumbfounding Job, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or ancestor Ayab, when, you know, Job was, you know, going through it after the Most High was testing him, you know, by taking everything, letting Satan, you know, test him, right?
Right.
Now let's see what Mazaroth means in the Hebrew language. Strong's Concordance, Mazaroth, or Mazaroth, the 12 signs of the Zodiac, and their 36 associated constellations.
So you're saying...
Then there's, then there's Mazalah,
Okay.
constellations, signs of the Zodiac. This is the Hebrew Strong's Concordance definition. And we just heard the Most High say, can you bring forth the Mazaroth in his season? This is in the word, right?
Right.
So now the question is it the knowledge of knowing the constellations which is demonic? Or is it the horoscoping and trying to predict what your personality and what your day is supposed to go like is demonic? You see what I'm saying?
So, but
Okay, go ahead.
You're saying that the Mazaroth is the Zodiac, for another word for Zodiac, basically. It is.
Yes. Or
Okay.
constellation, Zodiac, 12 signs Zodiac. So here's what I've done a real deep study on this personally when I came across this. And I came up one site that helped me study this was called Mazaroth.info. And you know, I decided whether or not to put this chart on here because we could be putting too much deep information out, right? But what I have come in my studies to find out is that the Most High imparted Israel a lot of this secret knowledge, right, that the rest of the world was not supposed to know.
Okay.
He imparted certain knowledge and information to the nation of Israel, us Hebrews. You know, but the high priest and the more knowledgeable people, the tribe of Issachar was actually specialized in understanding the constellations. Joseph, you know, he had these dreams, right? With the sun and the moon and the stars bowing down, and he was so knowledgeable, and he became king of Egypt. He was also a shepherd. All he had time to do was look up in the sky and look at the stars, right? Joseph himself, when you do a real deep study of him, he was also knowledgeable of the Mazaroth, right? So imagine this. We know in the book of Genesis, the Most High, you know, talks about how he created everything, right? How, in a matter of fact, let's just, you know, Genesis 1 here. So in Elohim, I like to say, and Elohim said, let there be lights in the expanse, or aka firmament, of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, for appointed feasts, and for days and years. So we know the 12, so that also correlates with the 12 hours in the day, or 12, split, right? The 12 months, this, signs and seasons, literally correlates, right? And years, and let them be for lights in the expanse of heaven, and give light upon the earth into itself. And Elohim made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, less light to rule the night. He made also stars. And Elohim set them in the expanse of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw it was good. So he creates these first, right? The Most High, in a sense, because we can still take a telescope and see pictures, literally constellations in the sky. The Most High basically prophesied everything that was going to happen on earth in the constellations before it even actually played out in the timing of the timeline of earth.
So on earth as it is in heaven.
Exactly. And so there's a biblical way to understand the zodiac, to understand that it's not for trying to predict what's going to happen in your life or what's going to happen in the future necessarily, but it's to understand that the Most High has already prophesied from the beginning to the end in the heavens. And when you actually study even deeper into the word, you actually start to realize the word is written in this Mazaroth code. There are verses and chapters written in concordance with the Mazaroth. So it all prophesies back to the word.
His faithfulness endures to all generations.
Right. Now, and when you do read these verses and you know about the 12 brothers, you can kind of hear the quote-unquote personality in it, right? But there's a difference in between pursuing answers from the Most High and pursuing worldly knowledge and just trying to know your personality. And now astrologism, when you got colorism, racism, sexism, isms. And now, I don't like you because you're a Gemini, and you're a Leo, you're toxic, and there's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an Ardia, okay? Not a Leo. I'm an Ardia, which means lion in Hebrew. All right. But yeah, like, even the zodiacs are actually named after Roman gods now, but they actually had Hebrew names back in the day. And so, that's what it gets to divided in New Age. And we can get into some more on that, but what's your response to that?
I can understand how, for a person who is not of the same faith as us and does not hold the Bible to be the true and living Word of God, I can understand why the duality of it could get confusing. And that's the response I've had when I have this conversation with friends that I have that are not believers. That's the biggest kind of point on their debate is like, but this every single thing is duality. Like everything that you say the Most High does, everyone else is saying that their God in some form accepts or allows a similar like belief or like pattern or whatever, like practice. And so this is new information what you're saying about the esoteric writings for the Mazaroth. I never knew of this really.
And when she says esoteric writings, all she's saying really meaning is rather than surface level reading, there's deeper knowledge in the word, than the exoteric, which is like what you get from just reading. Just so they understand those different words,
No, I just always thought that there is a lot of idolatry associated with practicing any form of zodiac, so in order to avoid the idolatry, I'm just not going to consider what my sign is. I'm not going to engage in conversations about what other people's signs are, and I'm certainly not going to use that information, for example, to put it in an app and be like, we should date each other. Because I've heard this before, like literally. I have had that situation.
That's an issue. Because what now you're discounting is that the Most High can't change people. You see what I'm saying? I believe there's a system for how he made the human being and put each person together.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can still rise above whatever that is in the Most High.
So I'm actually, as I learn more, I'm changing my perspective a little bit because I was really heavy on that. Like, if anyone would be like, "What's your sign?" I would literally just disregard it or just be like, "I don't subscribe." Like, I just wouldn't even have the conversation. So it would it would be a debate because it's like, well, clearly there's some science to this. This must be true. So why do you refuse to participate?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was the way to avoid the idolatry in it. But now that I know more about it, I think it's something that you would learn from.
What I learned is that ancestor Abraham actually taught the Egyptians or Chaldeans their sciences. And that's actually how they got a hold of a lot of information that they perverted over time.
Mm-hmm.
But ancestor Abraham actually taught. There's writings from Abraham, and it talks about how he went there and he taught them a lot of this knowledge, in their early years. And so, for me, when I have these conversations, it always goes back to the word with me. Mm-hmm. It's not like we just stay on that subject because, from my perspective, this was already talked about in the word even before you had this understanding. You ended up on some random website that you found out and tried to learn about who you are.
Yeah.
Like this already existed as knowledge. Elijah, what do you think about?
What am I thinking about right now? In the last days, that knowledge is going to increase. It's just like, there's so much knowledge out here nowadays, and there's going to be the explosion of more. It just makes me think about, like, people can find whatever they kind of want to listen to. For me, it just goes back to, I'm like, even with, like, the Mazaroth and understand, like, the deeper meanings between, with numbers and, what God's word has to say about them, I'm going to go study it. I'm excited to go study it.
And y'all can disagree.
Yeah.
Just do your own research.
Yeah. But in the end of the day, it's just more knowledge, and knowledge only puffs up. So my focus, I had to continue to worship the Creator, not the creation.
Yeah.
So just keeping that in mind, when people do ask me what my Zodiac is, I say all of them.
Yeah.
How is that an accurate answer? Just wondering.
Because I can be any of them.
Okay.
That's
to man of all things.
Yeah.
No, he has multiple personality disorder. That's what he's saying.
I want to share a story about an experience I had kind of with New Age.
Okay.
So a friend of mine was like, she lives in Midtown, and like she's like, let's go to this like new yoga place. Like this is really cool. Trust me, this yoga instructor is amazing. Like it's like a really like exclusive little private class. And I'm like, okay, like let's do it. We're gonna go.
Yoga are really into it, man.
So we went to the yoga class. It started pretty normal, like we were just like got our mats and just got into it. So then she started to like, okay, she's going to talk us through all of the thoughts as we do the movements. And so she also did, the sounding bowl.
Yeah.
She was like using that as she was talking us through it, and like a guided meditation, like telling us what to envision. And when I tell you, I do not know. It was a very strange experience that I've never had before. Like I felt like she was encouraging us to open up our third eye, which I believe I did successfully, because I felt as though I went through a portal. Like I had some type of like outer body experience with my higher self. Wow. And like all this happened. So then like when the yoga, and then afterwards she was passing out tarot cards. I refused. I didn't want to. I like skipped the card. Yeah. I didn't see that coming, but I skipped the card, and she did readings for everybody. Some people were in tears saying like, this is so accurate. I really like have been. Can't even sleep at night worrying about these things. Not how you do.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. I was like, okay, I'm gonna pass up on the reading because I didn't even expect the guided meditation to go so far. Yeah. So when we were going to leave, and I'm telling my friend like, oh my god, that was insane. Like, and she didn't feel anything. Like she didn't.
Friend didn't?
No, like she the tarot card reading, she was like, oh, I mean, yeah, like it was cool, kind of accurate. But as far as like the guided meditation, she was just like literally just sitting there with her eyes closed, like. And I kind of had the experience, and she didn't, and I was just like. I am so afraid, like, I don't know what to do. So after that, she asked me to go again, and I told her I wasn't going to be able to, like, participate in this yoga class, but I did not know that there was any correlation. And this was about, like, 3 or 4 years ago, but I didn't know there was any correlation between yoga, guided meditation, New Age religion, and Wicca. Like, I wasn't aware of, like, those things.
What's Wicca?
It's basically, like, a form of witch.
Oh, witchcraft. Oh, okay.
It's, like, the name of the religion that witches participate in.
Interesting.
I want some American. Go ahead. My bad.
I also want to state that I wouldn't go as far as to say I think this lady was a witch, but I do think that she had some gifts and abilities that she was believing that she was using for good.
Oh, good witch. Like what's
In
that
her belief,
football
I
player
really
said?
think she feels like she
No.
provides people with an opportunity
Patriots.
to heal. Like, I mean, that's what she was known for.
I mean, yeah. I mean, some people don't know. I also feel like that some people don't know that they're a witch. Some people don't proclaim it, but some people don't know.
Okay.
But so here's what's interesting. So I want us American people to know that in the Hindu culture, they actually teach you cannot separate the deity worship from the actual practice of yoga. You know what I mean? This is what Hindu priests teach. They actually look at us crazy over here.
That
If
we
you're
could
channeling
just-
over,
that we could just do random yoga.
yeah, y'all are channeling all 33,000 of our gods. Just so y'all know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that doesn't put a damnation towards stretching, right?
No, right, that's
But-
why it gets so complicated. You
Yeah.
stretch.
Yeah.
Hydrate, stretch.
Yeah.
I want y'all to. We are not like. I would never. It would make us sound crazy to say that like you're stretching for all evilness. Like everyone should stretch, but like as far as the practice of yoga.
And you can meditate, but what are you meditating on or for? You know what I'm saying? You're meditating on the word and the Most High. You're meditating on your own power and manifesting your own. You know, do what thou wilt. But you know, and this is where more dividing like the word in New Age religion. So the third eye, right? Technically, the third eye is the pineal gland, right? The Egyptians worship the pineal gland. I think they call it the eye of Horus, right? But in the word, the pineal gland is mentioned as well. Have we all read the story of Jacob's ladder, or when Jacob had the dream of the ladder ascending to heaven?
Yes.
And and Yaakov called the name of the place Penuel. For I have seen Elohim face to face, and my life is preserved. Penuel is literally the Hebrew way to say pineal. There's actually an angel named Penuel as well, there's an angel named Look at it. There's an angel named Penuel. There's an angel. There's an angel named Penuel. There's an angel named Penuel who is one of his in the Book of Enoch. He's talking about where he's supposed to interpret visions, you know, to people, right?
Yeah.
Visions, Penuel. He said, "I've named the place Penuel because I've seen Elohim face to face." And it was a spiritual realm experience he had.
Yeah.
See, what the word is telling you right here is that, yes, the Most High did create a physical component in our brain that is meant to be used to connect to the spiritual realm, right? But now people actually worship the actual thing instead of the creator and just realize that too was a tool, right? You know, they talk about don't drink the fluoride, don't drink tap water, right? There's fluoride in it. Or don't brush with fluoride toothpaste. Fluoride calcifies your pineal gland. And this is how people become more docile, more controllable.
And I actually live by that. I literally don't use fluoride toothpaste and don't drink tap water. Well, unless it's like boiled or in my coffee or something.
See, this is where
for this very reason, but I'm not part of New Age.
But this is where understanding the knowledge can help you. This is where you have to accept the knowledge and wisdom being increased, but just know how to not worship and idolize the knowledge. Only idolize the creator who has imparted us the knowledge, right? And so the pineal gland is also responsible for creating your melatonin, right? For you to go to sleep. When a person smokes weed, right, which I was on the backwoods, you know what I'm saying? I literally could not go to sleep. It was like if I didn't smoke, right? But what I would do, I would actually create natural melatonin. I wouldn't take melatonin. I create natural melatonin by meditating myself to sleep, which activates the pineal gland to create melatonin. It is also the highest concentration of melanin in the entire body.
In the pineal gland.
The pineal gland is the highest concentration of melanin, which we know now carries, it controls a lot of your body processes in the entire body. Not only that, it's connected to your your spinal fluid,
Yeah.
which sends out the nerves. Not only that, it creates natural DMT, which is a hallucinogen. When you're in deep meditation for a long period of time, right, it actually is the scientific component that creates DMT and causes you to see things, right, and have experiences. Now, whether you're doing that in the Most High or doing that for, some other selfish purpose, but it's still a tool.
Yeah.
And the pineal gland, or pineal, or maybe in the Hebrew, pana'al, however they may have said it, right? It is that important.
Yeah.
But the issue is the worship of it. Some religions characterize it as a pine cone. They'll use a pine cone to represent, the pineal gland. Some religions, and so
So how can we avoid giving idolatry or any sort of practice to some of these two New Age teachings that seem to cross over with, I guess, mysterious, like the unknown knowledges of the universe, like facts and knowledge that is unknown to man in the universe that crosses over with New Age?
I would say just studying the Word, because it's all in there. All of it is. Every single concept of New Age is in there. Some stuff is literally like, just leave it alone. Necromancy, that's easy.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to contact the dead. Throw the tarot cards away.
Yeah.
Stay away from seances. Stop praying to your ancestors. You're supposed to respect and recognize your ancestors, but not pray to them.
Okay.
They
Right.
did,
That's good.
right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to respect and recognize and not pray to them. I do believe, according to the Word, the Most High does make certain ancestors of ours angels that can minister to us, but they're not dead. You know what I'm saying? Those angels are very well alive. But so that's easy, right? But then crystals, right? Well, look, we know the Levites had the breastplates that represent every tribe of Israel, but they weren't using them to try to manifest things. Now, there are certain parts in the Word where some miracle or something was created. Scientists have tried to speculate, maybe they had knowledge of these stones that could create fire, blah, blah, blah. They try to rationalize everything, right?
Yeah.
But I think it just goes into studying the Word. A lot of this knowledge in dividing it is in the Apocrypha, which, the books that the Catholic Church took out or left out of our canonizations. The Book of Enoch, the Book of Jasher, Baruch, and it's really all throughout the Word. It's really how deep are you going to study the Word, because it's all in there, and the Word will literally say just stay away from it, or this is a real thing, but at the end of the day, the Most High controls all. Like I want to throw out one more, maybe like New Age, concept. Oh yeah, like I said, meditation is fine. What are you meditating on?
Right.
Exercise is fine. These Hebrews was brolic, strong people, healthy people, right?
Or just the difference between someone telling you a fortune or a future event and having a prophetic dream, prophetic experience.
Yeah.
There's a difference between trying to predict and prophesy.
Okay.
Prediction and prophesy ain't really the same thing. I believe the Most High will, show you things in your dreams and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, what should you do after that? Pray to the Most High, give me the answers for what I just dreamed.
Right.
And at the end of the day, most of the time when people prophesy, they're not prophesying anything different than what the prophets already said in the Word. Most High might share some revelation. But what I do know about knowledge and wisdom and all this stuff, everybody isn't supposed to know. We do have to be comfortable in the fact that even in the Kadajam, the Holy Ones set apart, the people of the body, some people are supposed to know some of this knowledge, some people aren't.
Right.
And this is where just being comfortable in what is your individual role in the body is as well. Personally, I believe one of my roles is to know a lot of this stuff, right? But, somebody else's role could be that they're a healer. They know how to nurture, people and help them come out of things, which I'm a little bit too blunt, brash, and kick down the door personality sometimes.
Stop crying.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do. You're refer to people as very sensitive individuals. And they'll be like, well, I mean, this person is very sensitive. So, Brandon, are they very sensitive?
I am an Asherite warrior, okay? Asherites was warriors, I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, but I mean, but yeah, I mean, and the elect, right? And who knows who the elect are? Maybe they're going to be our kids. Maybe they come out of our generation. But I do know those people are supposed to know some things that the rest of the body isn't.
Will not know.
When you really read into the elect, and it does say in 1,000 million of rain, all knowledge will be revealed. We'll know everything, by then. So we're probably just warming up into that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's exciting to think about.
You know what I'm saying?
That's exciting.
That's what I gotta survive.
That's a lot.
I survive everything to get to it.
Y'all might have some amazing children like one day. I don't know. Like, you never know.
Shoot.
You know what I'm saying?
You might do your big one.
Huh?
You might do your big one. And have all good, just very gifted children.
Look, they're gonna be lifting weights at 2 years old. Pull ups.
I'm afraid for these babies.
No, I'm joking. She just said I'm afraid for these babies.
These babies are gonna be in the gym.
In the gym.
My kids are gonna be. This is another topic, but I just think they're gonna be running around barefoot chasing chickens and stuff. I would live in the country.
Oh,
That's the Garland, My kids are probably gonna be doing mad multiplication tables.
You just want them to
Multiplication table.
Yep.
Bro, this
young.
I hate math.
These are gonna be some special kids.
Special. So getting into the
Yeah.
financial news,
Let us know.
if you have not been under a rock since last year. No, actually, let me slow down. Let me not make people feel bad.
I just really never heard this before.
I'm sorry. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, on the news, they were talking about the bank crash of Silicon Valley Bank. Billions of dollars in assets were lost, mainly because this bank was the bank of the wealthy. I think maybe 2% of the depositors at this bank had less than $250,000 in there. So only 2% were FDIC insured, so it really didn't matter if the FDIC came in. But this had ripple effects around the whole banking system and really around the financial markets. So we saw other banks, starting to have liquidity issues, and because you guys know how banks make money?
Yes.
They trade our money overnight,
Yes,
basically.
yes.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, and the government only requires for them to have, maybe 10% of what depositors have put into the bank on hand, or even, basically on hand. That's amongst all the branches. So this is kind of started fears of a bank run, or what's going on in the economy. And I had to retract I had to kind of step back from my statement because, I've known that we're in an economic recession since Q3 of last year. Based on the economic term of a recession, that is, 2 or more quarters of decreased amount of GDP. GDP is basically, capital expenditures, imports, exports, taxes. Those are what make up a country's gross domestic product. And after two quarters of that, it's technically a recession. So since last year, Q3, we've been in a recession, economic recession. But now we're really going to start feeling the effects. So I saw this interesting article on Yahoo Finance recently talking about how the top 3 banks, which I think are Bank of America, Chase, and some other bank, maybe PNC. Don't quote me on that. I know Chase is one of them.
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo, probably, yeah. Truist, maybe. We'll put the link to the article in here. But, so essentially, depositors have been putting a lot more money into those banks because they feel like those banks are too big to fail, which I find really interesting. Because I didn't mention this when I was talking a little bit about myself and what I like, but I really am interested in blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. And I'm seeing right through this whole bank crash thing as a controlled demolition of the current financial system as we move into the new one. To usher in, a new world order.
Like crypto.
Yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on. Have you guys been like keeping up with it? What do you guys think about it?
I definitely am curious. My biggest question has always been, and I also wondered this during some of the time where like a lot of those big crypto CEOs or whatever founders of cryptocurrencies or managers were like either committing suicide or going missing after billions of dollars go missing. How can billions and billions of dollars disappear from an economy? That's insane to me. The concept of it is like, where did it go? How can that much money hypothetically disappear?
We're talking about U.S. dollars, right?
Right.
U.S.
Or
dollars
crypto.
aren't backed by anything.
Or crypto, which is not necessarily U.S. dollar currency, but if you're saying that there's this billions of dollars in value in cryptocurrency and now it no longer exists, where did the value go?
Well, one thing is that the U.S. dollar technically has no value because it's not backed by anything. We just print it. It's not on the gold or silver standard or nothing like that. So it actually doesn't even exist anywhere.
It doesn't. Same with the crypto. So that answers your question. Like we'll take what was it, FTX for example. Like it had FTX coins, but basically they were just taking depositors' money, using it, putting it into USD, saying like it was basically like propping up the value of the FTX coin, which is not like it wasn't really backed on anything, which many cryptos like. I believe like over probably 95%. Maybe even 99% of all cryptos are gonna go to zero. Like they just don't have the right wording is probably intrinsic or extrinsic value. Like they don't actually have value that they bring to the world.
Okay.
So because of that, like kind of like the United States dollar, the value is based on the full faith of the United States government being able to back it, or being used in trading, whether it's for like oil or other types of assets, but it's not backed by anything besides a thought.
Let me ask you what y'all think of this. This is patents.google.com. I'm going to leave the patent number for last. Patented by Microsoft Technology Licensing LLC in 2019. This patent started in 2018. Inventor Dustin Abramson, Derek Fu, Joseph Edwin Johnson Jr. I'm pretty sure Bill Gates is wrapped up into it too, at Microsoft Technologies.
Probably.
Cryptocurrency system using body activity data. W0202000606006 A1. 2020 666.
That goes on the list of things that concern me. That concerns me.
Cryptocurrency system using body activity data. Patents.google.com. I can put this on screen.
Yeah.
So it's the concept. You think it's the idea of like having access to like digital currency using some kind of implant in your body. The patent to do so.
Yes, and this is where we talk about chipping, and they already do this in Europe, very popularly, by the way. Where you can just scan something or pay with your palm, or even they're now warming up to it. Pay with your hand palm fingerprint. You know what I mean? Without an injection, but they're really getting really close to that injection. And that's where a lot of people speculate the Divok pandemic. Divok backwards in Hebrew, possession of an evil spirit. Turn that around. That spells the other word, which better not get censored for saying it on here. Where people feel that they were injecting an injectable computing system in people, there's been a lot of weird videos that have come out with people who've been, I'm gonna say snake bitten. Because we don't want to use the actual word, the V word, because we might get
They
flagged.
received the solution.
It's the solution, you know what I'm saying? For the pandemic, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So
that's interesting. I've seen videos on that and heard about that too. Like it has tracking abilities.
Hey, and if you took
in the one that's already made, or in one to come, like in the one that's already
the one that's already
people
made.
already have.
Yeah, and if you have taken it, fear not if you're in the faith. For they, Paul said, for they shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, they shall survive.
Mhm.
And so for people who were beguiled into that, look, there's still healing for you. I just think you better repent.
Are you
Plead the
you
blood.
sure do you have it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like to be sensitive.
Yeah, my goodness, if he has it, I think I already shared it. I never got it, but I just.
I'm the only one in my family who doesn't have it. So I've been on my parents like white on rice,
Yeah.
My dad had to go through, certain cancer surgeries after taking it.
After.
Mm.
Yep, and cancer went up 300%.
Wow.
Before, when they started administering them.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't believe it has anything to do with it. I do. But my parents at this point are, they're off of the taking any more shots way.
Yeah, they're not into it anymore.
Yeah, I think it's like that was part of the conditioning for what is to come.
Exactly.
In regards to cryptocurrency and in regards to conditioning us to be more accepting to altering our body. Because Revelation 13, 16?
Yeah.
What do they call that? There's like.
Let him quote it.
Oh, it's
Revelation 13,
13, 16, the beast is going to force all people, to take a mark on their hand or on their forehead. That's going to allow for people to buy or sell.
666.
And that's what cryptocurrency is really going towards. So
There's one other verse in the Bible that actually talks about 666. It's in second. I want to say second or first Kings, but it basically the verse goes, and King Solomon had 666 towns of gold.
Wow.
And so this kind of shows, and Freemasons worship King Solomon.
Yeah.
There's some correlation between that and the mark and the. But y'all seen Black Mirror.
Yes.
Right?
That's what I was just gonna say.
I have seen.
I was gonna say when you said the body activity
Data,
I was like, yo, this makes so much sense on the social
Credit.
score
Yeah.
Black Mirror episode.
Yes.
Like being able to watch your eyes. Oh, you just lost 10 cryptocurrencies because you rolled your eyes after you.
Yeah.
We can fight, bro. What's good? Are you serious? That's crazy,
Every time you say
bro.
something just like arguable or just controversial, or you're like
Yeah.
rude to a flight attendant, you lose points.
Yeah,
You lose a point, up 2 points, up 10 points. Yo, that was like, let's go.
I'm gonna have
negative.
negative.
You're gonna have to throw me off the plane.
Yeah.
This also reminds me of
Like,
the,
bro, that's crazy, bro.
people have it now, but I want to know the right word for it, but basically it's like a passport that allows you like clearance or digital access, like to any.
Is it maybe Clear ID or something?
It's not clear, but it's already
The snake
available.
bite passport?
It's basically like when you have this.
They were
so
heavily
you can easily
with the QR code.
It has a QR code, yeah. So then you don't have any trouble with being able to cross into multiple different countries over borders.
We gotta really watch us here in the United States. We gotta see what's happening in Europe because it's all to come here.
Nothing is new under the sun. This is a Mayan statue.
Of
QR code.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
We'll put this on screen for you guys.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What are we gonna say, producer?
Yeah, production.
Oh, it says Ecclesiastes 1:9. What was will become again. What was done will be done again. There's nothing new under the sun. That was King Solomon. Oh, that's what Paul had quoted in the New Testament.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a great segue from when we talk about the extraterrestrial and technology back in. Was there technology back in the day? And
it's so juicy.
Oh man,
how do y'all think the pyramids got though? Come on, you know what I mean? Like,
come on, man.
But yeah.
Look into that Egyptian artwork. But China's already on a social credit system, I believe.
Yes, they are. Yeah, there's a great documentary on it that I watched on YouTube. That body art stuff, that's deep. They haven't figured out the digital yuan part yet. So like their central bank digital currency is very much like it's only being piloted in certain provinces, and but again it's got some kinks with it. But I really could see over the next couple of years, definitely before 2030, that they get up and running. And I know that it's going to happen here too, because as we're seeing with this bank crash, the United States dollar is losing its value crazily all around the world. So
I mean,
there's gonna have to be a new currency.
Do we even realize how still new credit scores are? I think credit scores started in 1999 or 2000.
Oh wow! Okay.
No way, not 2000.
I could be wrong. Let me
I
look
wanted
this
to say
up.
the 90s.
Because
or
then what
the
happens
80s.
if you're like 50 something? You just have a new credit score, like new credit?
Well,
Like you had no
like
credit
honestly,
for the first
like I look
2
at
years?
credit scores all the time, and credit reports, and you don't see many reports with information before in the 90s.
What?
Yeah, it's like
That is amazing.
they just started reporting in the 2000s.
I keep on.
Okay, 1989.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
Then
when the bureaus
everything
reformed?
probably wasn't
Oh,
reporting
yeah.
in like from 89 to like
the
95.
FICO score came along in 1989. Yeah.
That was probably crazy.
I would add that to my social credit score. The reason why it would be probably awful. I don't really have great credit. Like.
Yo, but think about how this really ties in with social media censoring. I've been censored on Facebook and Instagram for since 2019. People, when people started talking about Hebrew stuff with Kyrie and Kanye, my phone started blowing up.
Yeah.
Because now the algorithms are working in my favor. You've been talking about this, and you've been talking. I've never seen your stuff.
Yeah.
Y'all, if they put me on this thing, I'm gonna have negative credit scores. Negative credit. I'm gonna be broke the entire. Because I talk about with no filter on social media for real.
Right.
I'm censoring myself a little bit on this, but
Thank you so much, Brandon. We appreciate you. We do not want to be shadow banned. So thank you for being on your best behavior today.
she's so genuine about that too. That's the funny part. No,
I
I feel it. Yeah. Look, I thank my podcasters before me who complained about the censoring and demonetization and all that. So, Pshaw, we don't need y'all.
I'm joking.
Well, guys, this has been a great conversation today. I
Yes.
look forward to it. We have some really hot topics coming up in the near future,
Oh,
Yes,
man.
we
and
do.
we're gonna get into it. So
It's
yeah.
real juicy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. All I want to say in my closing statement
Those arguments.
argument. Listen, Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by Him, and that is deep as we're talking about this new age this new age topic. Okay, so make sure your identity is in Jesus Christ. Even if you think you are just an Israelite and believing in the OT, your identity.
But now
should be
you're
in
starting a
Jesus
new
Christ.
argument because Brandon's gonna say.
And for my I'm just saying, for my super brews
Okay.
who are triggered by the name Jesus Christ or Yahusha, Yeshaya, HaMashiach, whatever.
Yeah.
We all know what we're talking about. Let's be mature about
Yes,
the situation.
Sorry. Sorry.
For the super brews. Talk that Torah. No.
Yeah.
Alright, this was Kingdom OutKasts, first episode, pilot episode, or mock episode, whatever you want to call it. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Deuces.
Peace.